Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Now today we are going to be doing another rose tutorial. This is one of the new styles of sugar roses. I hope you enjoy it. Do subscribe, do like, comment, share, etc. And let's get started. So for this tutorial, you'll still need the same tools and equipment needed as the previous one, which will be listed in the description box, as well as the recipes and tutorials for the sugar glue and the gum paste. Now over here, I've just made my bud. I have two tutorials for that, which I will link at the end of the video, so you'll be able to see how to make this. So you'll still need the same amount of rows and you'll still need the same amount of petals. So the next one being 5 and then 7 and then 9 being your last row. It's just the difference of the petals is just the tips. With this particular one, we just bend the tips, and I'll show you how to do that now. So from this point onwards, you'll also need your apple tray. So go ahead, cut all your petals out and then we'll come back. And as I mentioned earlier, you'll need 5 petals for your next row. So you're still filling them and thinning them with your rolling pin. So keep going around in the middle just to make them a little bit bigger, and then do the edges. With this particular style of rose, you can thin the edges out a little bit more and put a little bit more pressure on, so they are fairly thin. With the other one, you can't do it as much because then you won't be able to fold them in, but this one, because you're not folding them, you're just bending them, it's okay to make them as thin as you possibly can. The more thinner the petals are, the more realistic they look. And then you just pop them in your apple tray as normal. So just put them in there, taking all the curves out and flattening them out as best as possible. And you want to do this for all 5. And then make sure you sort of rub the middle bit against the apple tray so it gets that nice curve. When you've done your last one, you just want to leave them in there for 5 to 10 minutes so they can air dry a little bit, enough to take their shape but are still flexible. So now that they're a little bit dried, it's time to stick them on. So with your brush and your sugar glue, just coat the bottom left and right side up to about half, and a little bit in the middle as well, just to make sure they stick. And then you want this one going slightly up than your previous row, and then that one overlap by about half. Exactly the same as we do with the previous tutorial, it's just the style of the tips that we do which is different. So again, overlap by a half, lift the first one up and tuck the other one underneath. And make it secure at the base. And then what you're going to do is bend the tips ever so slightly. And they don't always have to be the same as well. Some can be more than the others as long as it's just slightly folded. All you do is just fold it and then just pinch it. And you want to wait at least half an hour to an hour between each rose so they can dry, and then just pull them out a little bit. Even with your cocktail stick, just get the insides of them pushed out as well. Make sure the base is glued, so that way the base won't move, the bottom of the petals will not move. And then once you're happy with it, just leave it to dry. Now onto our next row, which is the 7 petals, thinned and frilled exactly the same as this row here. Right, onto the next row of 7 petals. And then leave for 5 to 10 minutes. So on with our next row. And then for the last row, you'll need 9 petals. And you're just gonna cover the bottom left and right as normal. And then with this one, what you want to do is you want to place it just slightly underneath the previous row, but not on above it. And then again, overlap by a half. Try and get the spacing right to fit all 7, so you don't have to take the whole row off like I have had to do once or twice. And then just keep overlapping by a half. And keep going below the previous row. Keep pressing the base down as well so the petals don't fall off. The thing is, once they're on, you can sort of maneuver them into position. Then I always keep a damp cloth with me and a dry one as well, just so I can wipe my hands, as I don't like getting glue all over my fingers. And then again, just bend the tips slightly backwards. And there we go. And then if you want to just open them up and sort them out, you can. I will now hang this upside down on a rack for it to dry fully, and then we can move on to our next and final row, which will be of 9 petals. So it looks something like this at the moment. And once we add our last row, it should be a little bit more open. You can always open these petals a little bit more as well if you like. Just like that. And there we go. Now hang it upside down on a rack for it to dry for at least half an hour to an hour. Now that that's all dry, let's add our last and final row, for which you'll need 9 petals. Again, just try and thin them as much as you can. And then, as normal, stick them in your apple tray and let them dry for 5 to 10 minutes. Now that the petals are dry, we can start putting them on our rose. Remember, you don't want them to dry fully, you just want them to be a little dry so they take their shape but are still flexible for you to fold and bend the edges. And then again with your glue, just the left and right to about a half. And then get your rose, and you want to put these petals below the previous row and again on a join, just making sure that they're stuck at the base and on the sides as well. And then just keep going and overlapping by about half, and just continue until you get all the way around. Making sure they're all stuck at the base, and then just flip them over and then just start folding the tips. And then once you've done that, you want to hang it upside down and just leave that to dry for about an hour. And then hang it upright and see if it's able to stand upright without the petals falling off. And if it is, then you can hang it upright. If not, you want to let it dry upside down still until they're able to hold themselves. So there we have it, guys. Our new style of sugar rose is completely ready. I actually prefer this style of rose compared to the other one. I think it looks more realistic. And if you'd like to know how to clean up the bottom bit and add acrylics, I do have a tutorial for that as well. I will leave that in the description box for you to check out if you'd like to, or you can just leave it as it is, because as I always mention and always say in my videos, if they're going into a cake, then no one's really going to look at the back of the flowers. They always look at the top, so you won't even be able to tell that there's no acrylics on it. But if you would like to have one added, then I will leave the link for you in the description box. And if you have any questions or anything you'd like to know, then please feel free to comment under the video, or you can Facebook message me, or you can direct message me on Instagram. You can even email me. I'm more than happy to answer your questions or tell you whatever you'd want to know. And as I mentioned earlier, I will slowly be adding all the tutorials on my YouTube channel. So do subscribe to stay updated, like, share, comment on the video as well, and share it as much as you can. Thank you for all your love and support, and I'll be back next time with another new video. Bye bye, take care.